Board games. Yes, thank you, Waluigi. Your secret is safe with me. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Clowning Crown Trounce, and we're going to take a look at all of the games that are happening this week on crowdfunding. But before we do, we have some lovely patrons to thank. These are the people who are better than you. No, thank you. Well, these are the people who go the extra mile and support the channel, so huge shout out goes to Board Flip, Robert, and Patasty Dactyl. Also, huge thank you to Ruth for jumping on board. You're lucky, Ruth. You can see by my change of shirt that I didn't get you in the first round, but Ruth backed as I was finishing up. So thank you so much for jumping on board, Ruth. Really appreciate it, as well as all of my patrons. You're all fantastic, lovely people. It's the truth. I will attest to it in a court of law. Back to past Chris. He had his whole life ahead of him. You'll see me, this Chris, at the end. And if you happen to sign up for Patreon over the last week and you aren't getting shouted out, well, boy, oh boy, do I have a surprise for you next week. I have to film these, a little bit earlier and sometimes sporadically. We're going to see how much I can do before I have to pass out for the night or for the morning. Don't tell my mother what time it is. Let's just look at the games. Starting off with Solar Titans lead your capital ship to battle. A deck-building tableau strategy game where 1 to 4 players engage in epic capital ship battles. And you can say, screw you, to all the other non-capital ships. Actually, they get to live a lovely, wholesome, loving life, and all the capital ships just have to murder each other. This one, I hope is good. I didn't talk about it last week because I was too tired, and so you get all of my energy tonight. Let's check it out. Yeah, it seems kind of neat. Took a quick, break there, but I'm back. And you didn't even notice, so why did I need to say it? Just to make this video longer, so I seem more impressive. It's a deck-building game, and every card that you get, or most of the cards that you get, or some of the cards that you get, will be added to your ship. Your ship is expanding, is hulking out like some sort of superhero that I can't think of right now. Thor! No. Red, someone. Doesn't matter. They're growing more and more muscular. That's what I'm thinking of. They're growing more and more muscles and parts of the ship as you play the game, and then parts of the ship are exploding, and you're using your ship parts to shoot at the other person's ship parts. As a deck-building tableau strategy game, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Look at that. Rulebook right at the top of the page. Way to go. 28 pages, but I mean, I feel like I got a good gist of it. Field repairs to restore disabled sections of your ship. Oh, you carry a limited supply, cannot acquire more. Okay, so to start your deck, your crew, which allow you to perform actions on your ships. You obviously need somebody to man the torpedoes. Those torpedoes won't man themselves. That's what Maggie always tells me. And she's right. And then the cost of everything else, which is in credits, which you also have, which are your starter crew cards. Your crew can give you money as well. That's not how hiring people is supposed to work, but it is in Solar Ship. Oh, this is cool. So you start with a different ship layout, so you're going to be intrinsically built differently when you're targeting spots for punching. That's kind of neat. I like this. You start with less cards as a starting handicap. That makes sense. Well thought out. This rule looks great. Oh, this is interesting too. The things that do the firing or activating the weapons can be prepped for use on future turns. You basically save them, so anytime they come up, they're basically a one-time use of that thing, regardless of when you use them, and that's how you can chain them through. So you don't really need to worry about them too much on the deck building. You can just focus on the other aspects of the deck building, which, okay, has to be 5x5, can't have more than 15 ship cards. Cool. And the multiple options on how to play it, which is really going to be it's a 2-player card game. It is. Yeah. I see nothing wrong with this. 25 bucks. 25 bucks, 34 bucks Canadian. That's pretty good. And what's shipping looking like? Shipping is also reasonable. 8 to 12, 12 to 16, plus GST now in Canada. Yeah, decent twist on the deck building formula. Pretty decent price too. If you like deck building, you like that sort of standard flow of things. This seems like a nice solid twist on the standard deck building formula, and that finishes tonight. Well, really tomorrow. I mean, it's Tuesday, July 11th at 12 p.m. Atlantic time, so 11 Eastern. I really should have covered this last week, but I got too tired. Something that's definitely not gonna happen to me Okay, next up we have Legions. I don't think we do. Nope. Trading card game mixed with a board game that's raised $5,000 with 24 backers. That's average 250 or so per backer. I don't think you're getting that. I think this is not something I want to look at. So let's move on to Undermined, Pairadice City, a gold rush era mining card game. Race to unearth as many treasures as possible while avoiding terrible pitfalls and terrible perils and terrible learning how to read and your opponent's shenanigans. Gary Gulman has a great bit on a certain war criminal's shenanigans and how someone called them shenanigans, and it's good. You should go look it up and not stay here and watch this video. But for me, that's what I'm going to do, so I'll see you in a millisecond. Bam, I'm back! Okay, I never left. This is another one where the backer count to the money raised feels a lot. Again, on that average $100 Canadian. Not really much of a campaign page, but it's got a decent enough explanation here that I think tells you all you need, even with no rulebook. I should really just save you the trouble, because North America's estimated shipping could be £40, but if you're in Britain, maybe you can get it. It's basically a crapshoot. You're going to, let's see if this has got a good some pictures. Yeah. You're going to be buying stuff from the market, which will allow you to draw cards from a specific deck, the Perils and the Treasures deck, and then you're going to see if you get a treasure. Great. You feel good about yourself. You've achieved something in this miserable existence of a mining town. If you get a peril, well, you should have expected it and have prepared for it. Can you overcome the random event that's going to be coming your way? I hope so. You can also help each other, etc. But hey, if you spend $68 Canadian, £40, you can get some metal coins along with this pledge. Yeah, it seems okay, but it also just seems way overpriced for what it is. But if that general premise seems exciting to you, check it out. The finish is Tuesday, July 11th at 5 p.m. Moving along. No. Oh, thank you so much. See, I always check out these potential. There's a lot of Japanese board games that are only in Japanese that I'm still really interested in checking out because, well, I like checking out everything. I like checking out multicultural games. And sometimes you can find some really good ones, and we have. And some of them have even become close to or the pick of the week. But thank you, Sign. It's only available in Japan. That's why it's only in Japanese. Makes sense. Oh, it doesn't really seem like they have a rulebook there. Sign, get it together. Maybe this is a bit of the rulebook helping you out. Although it just seems like a lot of cats. Anyway, we're not going to cover it. But so I don't know why the damn hell you would be interested in it. It's just that past Chris, who got up all these tabs, thought maybe it would be the diamond in the rough that you were so searching for and might ease all of your pain and sorrow, but unfortunately, it looks like it's going to continue. Sorry, Sign, we're going to move on, but we are moving along to something, and I did say alon, yep, we are moving along to something that might interest you, or you might say, well, that's great, good to know, I'll wait for retail, which is probably what I'll be doing. But on to Shipwrights of the North Sea Redux. Return to the North Sea in this reimagined 1 to 5 player version of the original game that started it all. And if you checked us out, on Friday we had our deathmatch recap. Shem Phillips was one of the designers. We had a designer deathmatch where all of Shem Phillips' hits got put into a quarter of the bracket and then battled it out to find their champion, which moved on into the semifinals and competed for a spot to be the Room and Board Designer Deathmatch champion. Well, I'll tell you that Shipwrights of the North Sea wasn't included in that, and I included them specifically based upon rating on Board Game Geek. If you look to Board Game Geek, you'll see that it's sitting at 3,437, significantly further down the list than any of Shem Phillips' other games, any of the games in these sorts of series. Explorers of the North Sea and Raiders of the North Sea are all higher than that, and Raiders of Scythia is even higher than that. But Raiders of Scythia, or Scythia if you're nasty, however you want to call it, the reason why it's up further is because it is that 1.5 version of it. And so I think they're taking inspiration from this and how we're putting out a 1 to 5 reimagined game. This was the first game of the series, and so they're returning to it and maybe making it good this time. Who knows? But I think that's cool. I think that's cool when it gets re-updated. And I think it's also much smarter to continue with your branding instead of put out the same game with different branding and hope that people jump onto it and then just get confused when they want to check out your other games. I think this is the better way to do it and a good place to start with the North Sea. And so Shipwrights of the North Sea is one that I haven't looked into because I've looked into all the other ones because it was part of the deathmatch. So I'm going to look into this right now and see what it's all about. I'm sorry, I have to pause this right now. I don't know how this was so far down, and obviously this must be a 1.5 change. If this was in the original, you gotta let me know, but I only assume that if you knew that you had support of the Randy hero, well, that would have propelled Shipwrights of the North Sea to the top of the charts. Look at Randy. I am intimidated by how much or how many feelings Randy awakens inside me. Let's just leave it at that. Because if you're at the top of the charts of one of these tracks, well, you could, yeah, these tracks, you get a special ability of a certain hero. But if you're not at the top of any, you get a Randy. Get yourself a little Randy hero. This hero, I think, might be a better art image. Just if you're looking for some notes there. This seems decent. You know, it seems solid. I see the flow of it. The basic flow is that you're going to be creating new workplaces for yourself with a deep and highly, oh, I thought it said relatable experience. Clearly, I've only just started, but I need to stop because there's nothing more relatable than Randy coming to you if you don't have anything. Anyway, this is a good shop because it shows me all the things you need. You're gonna have your own little player board here. Honestly, it's just a great video by the Brothers Murph. I mean, you can hear that it's from the Brothers Murph. They do really well done intro videos explaining the rules and rapid fire. That's the way I like them. You have your own player board where you're storing cards that you're then going to construct. When you construct those cards, they do different things. If they're a villager, you got to put them into a house over here because they got to have a place to live, or else you can use their ability once and then push them out of your village and they go wander off somewhere else, never to be heard from again. But if they have a house in your village, well, give a villager a house, let Randy use them all night long. But I do love that the aim of Shipwrights of the North Sea Redux is to be the player with the most victory points at the game's end. If you saw my deathmatch, you'll know why. Let's see what the difference is. Oh, look at that. Shipwrights in the North Sea is an entirely new game. The core gameplay has been completely rebuilt to create an experience much more in line with what fans of Garphill games have come to expect. Interesting. You're going to be moving up on 3 tracks, and what seems kind of neat is that you are constructing your own unique buildings and using your own resources to chain together. You're going to have an income phase, so you're balancing your income phase versus having different abilities with people and what's the best. Yeah, rulebook's right at the top, but honestly, I don't feel like I need it. I appreciate it being there. That video was really good, though. I may need it just so that I can zoom in on Randy. So tell Maggie. Yeah, and you're going to be drafting cards in terms of how you get them onto your player boards. That's one thing that I didn't mention, so I'm glad I did just briefly glance through that. We're looking at 74 New Zealand, 61 Canadian, that's around 45 US. That's a good price. That's also what you'll probably pay in a store. You are getting them in a larger box format and keeping with the recent South Tigris games, which is a bit of a bummer for me, honestly. I get it that maybe you have more stuff. I like the size of it. It makes me want to hold on to your games more. It made them a little bit more unique, and this makes it a little bit less. But there you go. I think the key thing here is that there's no pledge manager. They don't want those pledge manager fees. This is a pre-order system. They say this on every Kickstarter that they're part of. Let's move this to the top. Here we go. As always, we encourage you to purchase from whichever outlet works best for you. I love that from Garphill Games. You can avoid paying the shipping on this one, which I didn't even see an estimate. Oh, here we go. 12 US to the US, 19 US to Canada, right? So you can save a decent amount if you just purchase from a local store. Randy will be a little less pleased with you, but we take our pros and our cons here. If you are interested in getting that on Kickstarter, though, that is going to finish Wednesday, July 12th at 11 p.m. Next up, we've got Phantom Epoch, the relaunch 40-mission sci-fi dungeon crawler with persistent campaign, unlockable components, character progressions, tactical combat, Here we go again. But hey, it's a relaunch and it's funded. Way to go. I'm excited for you. Let's check it. That's a good shot of all those sweet little bits. That's my nickname in high school, Sweet Little Bits. This is a relaunch. I just went back and I looked at it before, and you can see that they were asking a very large price, probably why it didn't really fund. They had a $45,000 goal, and this was back in January 21, which that's why I didn't cover it, because it had canceled back then, and now it's back, and now it's hit the funding goal. This is going to be another campaign, right? It's another campaign in a sea of campaigns, but I do love you've got this book for all of the 40 scenarios. You're going to be building out your characters. Looks cool, and what's great is that they've moved this standard edition to $70 US, 95 Canadian, or they've even closed down the deluxe edition and slimmed that to 155 Canadian, 115 US, which feels great. They obviously went back, took some time, and figured out how to get it to you cheaper, which is much appreciated for sure, and makes it, you know, more justifiable. I said more justifiable, not justifiable, you campaign addicts. 40 missions, they said 2 to 3 hours, which of course means 60 to 80 hours if you do the math. That makes sense. It's cool. I like these bases. I like the dials on the bases. Just depends if you can see enough of it for their hit points. It feels like this standard edition is going to be completely fine. If it interests you, that seems like the best way to get in. But I know you're not going to go for it. I know you're not. All right, I don't care what's in it. I care what's in it. You know? How to play. Here we go. Rulebook. Give it to me. Let's go. Probably going to be a long one. Yep, 64 pages. Okay. Well, that's going to take my whole morning, so maybe I'll just get the bullet points for this one. Most campaign games play similarly, right? But you need chunky rulebooks because there are all the edge cases and all the closet cases. So what I try to do, at least for Crowdfunding Countdown, is to see if there's anything that pops out to me as I scan through. I've gotten pretty good at absorbing the information without necessarily focusing on all the minutiae. I like this, right? See, this is the sort of stuff that I look for. This stuff in bold. No, do not open other character class text box until instructed to do so. That tells me unlockables. That tells me interesting character progression, right? Those are the things that you can look for if you want to just skim through. But if you're seriously thinking about backing, you have no reason to skim through. But everybody's going to, oh, cool. If you're playing with solo, 2 characters, control them as a party, so you're multi-handing. You're always going to select the character class, and you're always going to select the species. That's going to give you your base stats, kind of like Elder Scrolls. You get Mission Book A and you get Mission Book B side by side. Cool. Makes sense. Right now, in this initial round setup, it's giving me Gloomhaven inspired, which isn't a bad thing. This rolling decision die and these drawing performing event cards could be fun, could be random. But like this, selecting action cards, revealing at the same time, drawing adversary action cards, they have different ones for every species, figuring out initiative, you know, all of that is very Gloomhaven inspired, or gives a very similar feeling, rather. Notes, don't eat the berries. Why? I want to know. I want to know why. It seems like your characters are going to be more limited. What did they talk about characters? They did say 6 character minis, but these looks like a similar color. But they said 1 to 4, didn't they? And there's only really 3. 1 to 4. 4 character classes. Okay. So I guess there's only 3 different species. That makes sense. I thought these were potentially different variants of the same species, but they're just human, Growlic, Blink, right? So that's how you get your characters. But you'll still get one of the 4 classes, and you'll probably have to be different. Then, of course, there's going to be a upkeep phase, like an upkeep round outside of the battles. So it'll be quest, spend your points, quest, spend your points, unlock a new action cards to put attachments and augments on your character, which I like. You can perform expeditions once a mission, which are just kind of like Gloomhaven's road cards. Again, it's not a bad thing to be inspired by the former #1 game of all time, right? I think it's actually probably a pretty good thing to put yourself on a map with your own world building and unique spin. This is just talking about the concepts that you need to know, which I always love when a rulebook does this. It's like, listen, here are some things before we go into saying, I punch you with my Flurmoflux. I need to tell you what punch means, because I know you know what Thermoflux means. And yeah, I couldn't even remember what I said. I think I said Firmo. Maybe I said Thermo. No, I wouldn't have said Thermo. That's too normal. 3 types of attacks: melee, ranged, multi-target. That makes sense. Attack flow. Here's what I want. Declare a target. Roll the attack die. You either fumble and you don't get to attack. I think I might hate that, but maybe it adds some drama. Or it's a critical strike, so you always get 3, or you get to calculate your attack value. You also have to roll accuracy. Seems like a bit fiddly rolling. To roll and then fumble might feel crappy, especially if it's like, is it a D6? Or what's the... Oh, basic attack die is D8, and then there's a blitz attack die. I'm more okay with it being on a D8 than a D6, you know? A D6 feels a little bit too punishing. D8, yeah, 12.5% chance that you trip over your shoelaces. That's, well, if you're talking to Renee, it's higher, but that's about average for me. So you add your score against the guard's score, then you apply the damage in this handy damage chart. Oh, okay, cool. And if at the end of the turn a player has any selected character action cards... Oh, no, never mind. I thought this meant that there was more of a deck building cycle, but it's not. It's just if you're like, I'm going to play this card, and then the person dies, you say, I shouldn't have played that card. Well, you should have communicated more with your team. Yeah. I mean, like, no red flags in the rulebook seems pretty well thought out. I like that it's in this board, this book board. Seems like a pretty good first go at it for a reasonable price for the standard edition. Let's see what the shipping's going to be. Shipping, expensive, even with that standard edition. I guess you're getting a big box, right? Not too much between standard and deluxe, so it's just that big shipping cost. 21 or 24, so really, this is still about $100 for the game. But as far as campaign goes, well, let's be honest, you're all interested in the deluxe edition. You can see 43 people versus 320, right? Oh, an early bird deluxe. There you go, 105 US in the first 48 hours, though. So I guess I got this. Oh, they're all gone. Never mind. Never mind. Hey, don't worry about it. It's better to back things than the last week anyway. Because you do get to see what you're going to get. You get to evaluate it a little bit more. You get to have a step away from the instant, there's a game that just came out, which I'll be talking about later on, and I won't give it away, that I was like, I'm going to insta-back. Well, okay, fine, I'll talk about it now. It was Planet Unknown. I'm really interested in backing Planet Unknown over at GameFound. I'm surprised nobody in the Discord's been talking about it, and that's sure to change. Because I really loved playing it at Niagara Board Game Convention. And it came out, and I was like, I'm going to insta-back this. And I didn't. And I'm glad I haven't, because I may not get it. I may not get it at that price point, because I think I could be fine with the retail edition for half the price. You know, insta-backs aren't ever a good thing, in my opinion. Anyway, but if you're interested in this, you know, if you like Gloomhaven, I think it's worth checking out for sure if you like Gloomhaven, because it seems like it's based upon a similar system, with its own tweaks, more rolling dice, right? That finishes Thursday, July 13th at 10:29 a.m. Moving along to Dead Grandma. You know, we go from an epic campaign game to Dead Grandma, a card game of inheritance. A strategic card game where players complete for their grandmother's most coveted heirlooms, all in the name of inheritance. It certainly sounds like this is going to get me to blow my little air horn, because it sounds like a funny card game. We were talking last week about card games, small card games in the market being saturated, and for sure, it's the title that has piqued people's interest in this, and good on you for marketing. So let's see if there's anything worth of value here, or if it's just a funny title that is going to sit on people's shelves and have a little laugh about people losing their loved ones. It's a hilarious and mildly competitive card game. He said it. That's right. We got a funny card game here. Let's go. Is there a way to sabotage your opponents? You bet there is. I take it back. It's a very realistic card game that hits close to home, and I wish hadn't attacked me this morning. I take it back. I take it back. I actually think there's potentially a game here. You know what? Here you go. I love my grandma very much. That's all that it is. Way to go. All right. Basically, it's set collection. You're bidding on getting 3 different colors or 3 of the same colors, and you've got action cards to sabotage other players. But what I want to know is how to play. Yeah, there's a bidding aspect, and I want to see how you get your cards. Tell me, Grandma. Separate the deck, steal each player 5 cards. Yeah, okay, that's about it. I would be more interested. Everybody had the same cards, you know, but you're all getting random cards, so it's just another random take that card game. You're going to be playing cards, the highest number wins, and then you can use action cards to switch bids or whatever, and you're bidding on possessions. There's a potential here. What's the price? 25 bucks US, 34 Canadian, and then plus shipping, it's going to run you $5. Okay, $5 to US. That's pretty good. 30 bucks to the US, like 17 to get to Canada. Why would I ever pay $50 for this nonsense? I wouldn't. But as far as these card games go, I think there's actually a potential game there. I think some people might enjoy it. It doesn't lean too much into the funny card game genre. Yeah, it's fine. I don't hate it. So if you are interested in that, that finishes July 13th at 11 a.m. Let's move on to Cook King, the game. In the cooking board game where you prepare dishes against a clock, grow your kitchen, and launch nasty attacks on your opponents. Fun art style, that's for sure bringing me in, and I'm sure it's bringing lots of people in too. Dang, there's a lot of potential here. That was a good video, but I just think, I think it could be a much better game if it followed the idea of Happy Salmon. So how it is, let me get to some images. Oh, I also hate this shipping table. Why make it readable for anyone? Can you read this? It says 1591 doubloons? I think it's in doubloons. I think it says dollars, like DLs, but like it's Mexican dollars, or is it Canadian dollars, or is it US dollars? Like, what is the currency in this thing? Oh, Jesus. Disgusting. I don't see the rulebook on here, but I was just scrolling quickly. That's okay. The video was good enough. You're going to get dealt a bunch of cards, 4 cards, and you're going to have a certain amount of time to complete recipes. And so you're gonna have to look in your cards, what you get, and then compare it to this big recipe chart, seeing if you can make the best one. I like that idea. You're trying to be quick. Some of the times the rounds can last 30 seconds. You use your completed recipes to get money, which you can buy more things, which can increase your card hand size, etc. Completely fine. What I don't like is there are these attack cards which just don't seem fun. You throw them at your opponents, okay, but they just say, haha, you can't play this round, because I magically drew an attack card. That is never fun to me. That randomness determines if someone gets to play or not. It's never a fun mechanic. If this had followed the idea of Happy Salmon, which you can trade cards with other players, Happy Salmon, you're looking for somebody to do the same thing. You're like, high five, somebody high five me. Somebody give me a damn high five. And so when someone gives you a high five, you can get rid of that card. And you got to get rid of all of your cards. So even talking about it makes me laugh. Here, if you could be like, listen, I got a tomato up for offer, give me a friggin' cheese ball. And if you could trade elements between each other in that frenetic 30 seconds, it makes it more frenetic. Maybe, and here's another idea, maybe the efficacy of the ingredients is different as well. You're like, I got a good cheese, I swear it's good. And you have to decide in that moment if you're gonna switch with somebody, and then you actually have like a mediocre cheese, and then you're scored on the quality of your ingredients, which indicates how much you get paid. Now that'd be an interesting game. That's not this game. Let me reiterate, it's not this game. 200 mechs. Okay, so that's mechs. So is that the same? This shipping is really annoying me. Really annoying me. This starts with a D. I think it's probably US dollars. So it's also pretty expensive to ship. I don't know. This one feels just a bit too random. I'm thrown because I like the game that I described just now, and it's not that game. Let me iterate. It's not that game. It's close. It's not that close, though. You're just getting 4 cards, and then you're looking at a sheet and saying, what can I make? And hoping nobody throws something like a cockroach at you, because then you say, I can't make anything. Ha! What fun. You win the game when you build a fridge, 3 cupboards, and 4 stoves. So obviously you're going to be building the cupboards first. You build a cupboard first, then you build a stove, then you build a fridge, then you build another cupboard, then the stove. That's the order and how you do it. Just makes sense. And especially sitting at 49 Canadian, no way. If you change the entire thing to one that I like, well, then maybe I'd be interested. But if the original game actually interests you, check that out. That finishes July 13th at 11:59 a.m. Moving along to Kraken Skulls, a squashbuckling, yeah, I said that right, and I'm not taking it back. It is a squashbuckling pirate game of dice and danger. Battle rival pirates, the Kraken and the Navy, to become ruler of the seas. I gotta stop this right here. It said, don't be in the same spot as the Navy, or you'll need to roll a dice equal to or above your dread token to escape. So if you got more dread, it's basically you have to roll a 6. And any game that says you have to roll a 6 gives me sorry PTSD, trouble PTSD. I have trouble with PTSD, is what I'm trying to say. Otherwise, this looks like, you know, a swashbuckling pardon me, a squash-buckling game of Dice and Danger. I agree. Basically, there'll be these different locations which all have little dice mini games in them. You're going to want to go to them to get treasure. If you meet additional pirates there, you're going to simultaneously choose how you move around the board. And so if you encounter people there, well, you got to face them off in a duel, and you got to chuck dice at each other until you chuck dice better. You're just paying for a bunch of dice. If you like dice, yeah, maybe. Oh yeah, I didn't mention this, but there's also a big old Kraken that you can fight as well. And you're constantly getting cards. You can always exchange your treasure for cards as well to give you an edge in battle. And so I like that aspect of it. Actually, that's the most interesting aspect of it to me, is that you have this push and pull of, do I keep my treasure or do I spend it on getting more action cards in the hopes that I can regain more treasure down the line and regain upon that investment. And I like that push and pull of having to give up points. Although it's really dread that helps you, so you may just want to give up treasure anyway. I need to look at the rulebook. I know I need more than just this to see if it's actually going to be. Oh, I don't mind this. Bury cards for bonuses. If you're alone in a location, you can bury one card to draw 2 cards, which can also be booby traps. So you can be like, listen, I'm saving this for later, and I'm going to come back to it and use it later and get more cards. And if somebody goes and digs it up, then they get a booby trap, which might be funny. Yeah, I want to know what treasure does. That's the most important thing to me right now. I want to know why I'm holding on to all of these damn doubloons. People said it was a good idea getting treasure, and so I've collected a whole bunch of little treasures. I've gone to anybody's house, and whenever they said, this is my little treasure, people have treasure boxes, I've been taking them. And all that's in there are like movie ticket receipts and pictures of people who I don't know, small little trinkets that you could get at the dollar store, wedding rings, engagement rings. There's no real secondary market for those. It's a bust, I tell you. Taking people's treasure boxes is a bust. Okay, they tell you they can only be used in certain phases. I like that. That's what I was expecting. I kind of wanted there to be a few other ways. The only way to get dread, to be a dread pirate, is to fight. You either face the Kraken. You can see this little chart here telling you that you can win dread when you roll higher. Well, you can remove the Kraken from the game to make it really hard to get dread, or you get dread by fighting each other. And so this whole getting treasure thing is really just to get more cards, to get more treasure, to get more cards to help your rolls. I wish there was a way to just be the rich pirate, I wish there was a way to not have to battle. But I guess that's the game. The game is battling, and so you need to know that you're going to be essentially checking dice at each other and trying to get cards to help you check more dice at each other. That's it. If that sounds interesting to you, then you can check this out. If not, well, then don't. But if you're interested, that finishes Thursday, July 13th at 12:01 p.m. Let's move on. All right, next up we got Bad Baby Lich Lords. Oh yeah, I did look at this before, didn't I? It didn't fund, so this is a relaunch and has funded now. I can't remember anything about it, honestly, because I was too obsessed with it being called Bad Baby Lich Lords, and I was just thinking about all the naughty, wicked, bad babies out there, to be honest with you all. And I don't know if that's going to change on this pass-through, but let's take a quick look and refresh my memory if it's worth talking about. I mean, already it's worth checking out. It is. Okay, my phone's blowing up. They're saying, listen, they want to hear about the Bad Baby Lich Lords. The Lich King was trying to sleep, and so he turned all the babies into skeletons so they wouldn't make sound. That's the premise of this game. Which, sometimes it's nice to laugh. It's just nice to laugh. A book about sneaks is what this little bad baby's doing. Yeah, it's probably pick of the week status already, let's be real. Tells me barely anything about the game, but I don't care. It's the way to get hyped up in the morning before you gotta go out for the day. It's Bad Baby Lich Lords, baby. Best video. Definitely one of the candidates for best video. Will it be a candidate for a good game? I don't know. Your father, the Lich King, has slain all living things, so he may slumber in peace. $30. Okay, let's see. Gameplay. I think I remember this. All the minions will have a different ability, but you're just flipping cards over in your own deck, trying to chain these little combos together. This example, I know it's just an example, but it doesn't feel exciting, especially if you only have one deck of cards. And you're like, okay, I'm just going to keep on digging through to try to find my 2 matching symbols for my realm. Let's see what all the actions actually do. Download the rules up here. It does have a quote from Richard Garfield saying, hey, this is good. And you can see the quote from Tom Vassell below. Well, maybe you couldn't. Well, I'll just tell you about it as I'm scrolling through this, saying, hey, Richard Garfield thinks this is good. Check it out. So everybody's just running off of Richard Garfield's opinion. But you know what, Richard? I may love Garfield and hate Mondays and love lasagna, but I will form my own opinion about this. Oh, okay. Yeah, see, this is a bit more clear that you should have a 2-player setup. And the realms are in between you, so you don't actually have to worry about this just being... See, I thought everybody just got a realm. That's what I was confused about. This seems much more interesting because it seems like a lovely 2-player head-to-head card game where you're fighting for control over these 3 locations, right? Cool. Okay, this is cool. You take any realm and you put it in front of any side. Yeah, all right. I'm starting to see the game here, and that's much more exciting than what I thought it was going to be. Good job. It should be communicated on your campaign page. It's really relying upon... I mean, I guess I did read this as match your realm's requirements, to be fair, and the is the correct phrasing. Cool. Yeah, just the fact that you can take from any realm and put it into any realm to start to hit those qualifications, and that you're battling over those realms together, I can see the appeal for this. Okay, cool. And this also, going through the actions, it looks like none of them ever swap sides, which I think is important. Yeah, if you like 2-player head-to-head card games, you should check this out. For sure, I think there's actually a potentially interesting game here that could have been lost because the theme is doing so much work for it, really. It's $30 or 41 Canadian. I like that there's 4 realms too, because you're going to be playing with 3 generally, so it gives you a little bit of a switching up, although I don't think you really need too much going on here. Like, it feels like they're going to be pretty much the same. I don't think the realms are going to switch up things that much. Shipping for 1 copy is estimated to be $15 US, 15 euro to the UK and EU, and 20 to the rest of the world, right? This is horrible shipping. I think that's where it's going to get hit. It's going to be $50 US, or like $60 to get this to my door, and I would never want to pay more than like 20 or 25 for this game, realistically. Because that's how much I like to spend on that 2-player head-to-head experience, because I don't value it that much. Sorry, Yugi. But if you are interested, check it out. The finish is Thursday, July 13th at 12:02 p.m. Looks legitimately decent, and I thought it was just going to look funny. So there you go. Moving along to Halloween 2, the game, in this retro tabletop. That's my alarm telling me I have to wake up. I got a couple more minutes in on Crowdfunding Countdown today, baby! Alright, we got Halloween 2, the game, in this retro tabletop based upon the 1981 horror movie Halloween 2. Players try to stop Michael Myers from killing Laurie Strode. Spoiler alert, Michael, get it together. Seems like a lot of nostalgia, and let's see if there's any game here. Well, if you want to watch a full feature film, that's very Jumanji-like, go check out Halloween 2, the game, which comes with 2 exclusive Kickstarter expansion packs. On one side, Michael stalks. On the other, he kills. It's a bit gruesome. 2 more Michaels will be included? Oh, well, don't reach stretch goal number 7. Why would you want more Michaels? He's already dangerous enough as 1 Michael. Michael. Different Michael. Okay, here's a bunch of art to get you in the zone, in the murder feel. Yeah, this is scary. Choose your favorite Michael. Michael with a knife or Michael with a knife? Oh, okay, so this is a Stop the Killer series, so if you've played Silent Night, Deadly Night, or My Bloody Valentine, you can play any of these murder games on the holidays, and that's it. Great, okay. Well, I would love, because you have both of these out here, if you literally told me anything about how to play your game. That would probably be good. You gave me a full feature film. You say there's a game guide to have you set up in a few minutes. You say it's an existing system as well, but this doesn't tell me anything to do. In the feature film, it looked like you rolled dice and moved people away. So, but it also looked like there was a lot of murder happening here with a little hammer. You want to bet she got her hammer, and maybe she killed her. Poor Glenn. He had his whole life ahead of him. You know what? It seems fine. I think like objectively, this is the sort of thing where if you love the theme, it's not going to matter what the game is. It feels like it's really heavy on the theme. You could check it out. I just think it's going to be a lot of roll, move around, get a weapon, run away. Doesn't seem very dynamic in terms of modern board gaming. And if they would have liked to change that opinion, then they should have given me a rulebook on the campaign page and also given me any shipping information whatsoever so I could see how much this actually costs instead of $59 or 79 Canadian. No, thank you. We're going to move on. But if that interests you, that finishes Thursday, July 13th at 1 p.m. Let's keep going to Pacific Ocean, the card game. Build your Marine Sanctuary in this 2-player pocket-sized game. The expansions add solo mode, and third player comes in a cool tin box. So on a hot summer's day, you can just dab it against yourself. 18-card game for 2 players, so it's in the vein of Button Shy. Oh, this is a cool tin box. You know what? I agree. I agree, it is a cool tin box. Here are the 18 cards. Cool, when I know what these symbols do, I'll be able to tell you more about the game. Quick set collection game. Alright, that's good to know. Oh, great, and it has the I cut, you choose mechanic. And you can get as many little expansions as you want. Solo expansion, tropical fish expansion, all of these are just going to add additional cards. You're going to draw 3 cards, and you take 2 of them, place one face up, one face down. Great, I like that. So you're offering something good, or do you want the bird in the hand or the fish in the box? I choose the box. You choose nothing. Absolutely nothing. You just flip it over, there's nothing there. Oh, cool. And then you can either choose it for the scoring conditions or for the symbols. That seems very neat. Yeah. Multi-use cards, giving you a little bit of a push and pull, and then plus choosing how to push it towards your opponents. This looks great. How much is it? $4 for print and play. That's awesome. $20 Canadian. $20 Canadian for a physical copy in a little tin. Oh, this is the Kickstarter exclusive edition. Interesting. So they're just giving you everything. So you get the ocean, the solo expansion, which is 3 cards, the tropical fish to add more stuff, which you probably want anyway, 3 aquatic animal cards, 1 bot card for solo, and 1 sanctuary card for $20 Canadian. Yeah. I mean, it's fleshed out in that way because if they said, hey, you can have a 39 card game for $20, people would probably go for it. Cool, $20 ships to anywhere in the world. What's shipping like? Get it, Canadian companies. Don't make me do the conversion. Let's go. $6 shipping to the US, so 28 Canadian, or around $20, $22 US if you're getting it in the US. $30 to get to my door in Canada. I get it. Like, I'd prefer it got to me cheaper, but as far as Kickstarter card games go, 30 is a lot, but it looks cool. So I don't mind because it actually looks like a good game. That's neat. Yeah, looks really good. I'm very happy with that. If that interests you, that finishes July 13th at 1:29 p.m. Moving along to Eldfall Chronicles, The Northern Wind, an epic adventure featuring deep tactical combat, dungeon crawl, and premium miniatures. Oh, you know, the premium means how much is this going to cost? Let's guess, just based upon this image, these minis, which are painted. If they're friggin' painted in the game, they're not painted in the game. Come on, don't be nuts. Hunt the haunting and save the empire. It doesn't say the quest count, but I'm going to put this at a solid 129 US. Let's see. 109 euro. So 119 US. I was close. All right, another video which is, hey, look at all the shiny, which is fair because that's what most of these large campaigns deal with. 60 plus hours of content and gameplay. It's not 100. I don't want that trash on my shelf. How long is this demo play through? 56 minutes. That's pretty good. Oh, this says 100 plus hours of content. Because that's the side quest. There you go. 30 to 60 minutes per quest. That's actually a nice number. And the minis do look cool. An immersive tactical dungeon crawler played with premium collectible miniatures. They're really laying into that. The game includes lore and gameplay, and why not if they're cool? That will keep you on the edge of your seat for hours, plunging players into a spine-chilling adventure that will change the fate of a whole empire. Now, here's the thing, though. Does Eldfall Chronicles have a money-back guarantee if your spine is not chilled? Again, what if I'm playing this on a hot summer's day? You can tell that I've been outside in the sun for a couple days. Because everything I'm thinking of... okay, it says to created. Is this a reprint? It is a reprint. That mini looks familiar to me. Did I cover this? No, it was before I started covering things. It might have been, yeah, it was just before I started covering things. I started covering things in July 2021, so I did miss this one, but maybe that's why it looks... Oh, and this was a skirmish game. Interesting. I love seeing that shift from skirmish games to campaign games. Interesting. So this was, the first one was focused more upon the skirmishy side, the deep tactical combat of Eldfall Chronicles. And so this is it's a different thing. So this 9.5 is just representative, apparently, of their, with 27 ratings. Cool, yeah, lots of people love it. That's great. There's only 1 4. Well, this is a stupid review. It is. Haven't played the game yet, but at that price, to get a paper map instead of cardboard one, Board Game bought it and then said, I'm mad. Not bad for the few people who have reviewed it. This one, though, sitting at a 10. It's sitting at a 10. It's a 10 out of 10 game. According to Board Game Geek, this campaign is a 10 out of 10 game. You should probably get it. And so this is why it's called Eldfall Chronicles Northern Wind, because this is the campaign section. You can see how you're going to lay out these tiles. All right, that's enough of that. Let me see the rules. Fair play to them. They do have that demo play up at the top. So if you have an hour, which I don't, I really don't, I would just like the rulebook because I can speed read quicker than that. I mean, these minis do look cool. They don't have sculpted bases, though, which is kind of the norm now, at least I think. So that's a bit surprising with a premium mini putting forth. But like, look at these guys. That's pretty cool. Gameplay overview. Here we go. This is what I want. Again, for these campaign games, all the rulebooks are, well, let's see if they even have the rulebook. Yeah, this is rulebook. Yes. See the preview and a demo quests. Great. Great. Rulebook preview, 49 pages. Cool. You can use miniatures and other components from both editions interchangeably. Cool. We've created compatible skirmish and dungeon crawl versions of the model profiles and resources. In Northern Wind, combat resemble those of Eldfall Chronicles, the skirmish game, but with the exciting addition of tile-based movement and fresh gameplay elements. This edition emphasizes cooperative play and an engaging narrative-driven campaign. You'll have the flexibility to enjoy solo, cooperative, and PvP modes. Great. An action-reaction mechanic that ensures all players remain active throughout the game, provides 20 to 30 hours of captivating narrative campaign on a single storyline, and there are 3, so that's how you get that 100 hours. Each player assumes the role of a hero who survived a brutal ambush in the treacherous northern mountains. Heroes embarking on a race against time, aiming to reach the summit of Mount Biodo before the blood moon rises and breaks the seal holding back the demonic Oni. I like the theming of it for sure. So 3 main storylines will always lead you towards the top of Mount Biodo. That's kind of neat. Branching paths, that sort of stuff. What's going to be most important, though, is the combat and the gameplay loop. What is kind of interesting is that it seems like a lot of these setups are just a pathway, right? Which I guess you get normally with the larger tiles, but it's kind of unique, that sense of just battling your way through hordes and pathways of monsters and either going back or forth or moving around. It gives a potentially different feeling to other games that allow you to move around. Maybe not as much tactical positioning if you're going just back and forth, but still. There's a lot of stats here, right? Offense, defense, accuracy, intelligence, agility, T, how much tea they're going to spill, how many secrets of their opposing, their teammates they're going to let you in on, and then magic or factor. As I've always said, the red Oni's factor is a 16. I've always said this. You have event cards. You can think of event cards as mini quests that challenge your party to make decisions based on the text. These can lead to fortune, misfortune, and something in between. They happen outside of combat before each new quest and add lots of lore, art, and settings. So again, it's just hey, you make a choice, you get some stuff, right? A lot of games have this. I like that there are multiple campaign endings, especially since you're being directed to the same place. Those are kind of the buzzwords on the campaign page. All right, fine. I just want to see the combat. Lots of stats. Okay, T stands for toughness. Fine. I don't think. Oh, M stands for morale, obviously. 16. Oh, dang. I was hoping this affiliation, it shows what clan they're a part of, but you can ignore that in the main quest. That's just so you can incorporate it into the PvP mode. Oh, this is cool. You can shoot across things with line of sight because there's nothingness here, I guess. There's no trees. Nothing stops you. No. That's kind of interesting. So you have limited maneuverability, but the line of sight still stays intact. That's kind of neat. And anytime you do something, you roll a d20. And so there's attribute rolls, right? So if you need to do something with the attributes, it seems fairly D&D based with all these stats. Offensive roll, speed roll a speed check, roll a stamina check, right? And things can be modified. Okay, I'm getting a general sense, a general overview, and then you're gonna have to fight. But the fact that you're going with d20 dice, all of these stats will adjust things. The standout to me on this just brief pass through, because I got to move on, is interesting. I really, oh, look at this. You can see the line of sight. They're leading with their best foot forward on this preview. That's funny. Yeah, the line of sight existing across the nether sphere, across the nothingness, seems pretty cool. And seems, so that's where the uniqueness factor comes in for me. But again, you probably don't need any more campaign games. There are so many. There are just so many. Like, it looks neat. What's the price? We talked about it. €109, 159 Canadian, right? And then plus shipping, which is going to be in the EU, 15 to 25 euro, to the UK and the US and Canada. Customs free shipping is nice, especially after getting a few customs bills recently. It feels like Canada's getting custom bills for everything now, which is just, again, another thing that you have to factor in. UPS is always calling me up for money, and I'm saying, no. I'm saying, you keep it. I will not be bled dry. 25 to 35 euro puts this again in that $200 Canadian range, right? And while this looks interesting, while that line of sight seems exciting, it does not excite me enough. Like, the theme hasn't gripped me enough, the pull hasn't pulled me in enough to topple all the other ones that I'm waiting for, all the other things that I could get through. I think it definitely looks cool, looks well made. You're going to have to decide if it's something you have any time to put into, and you probably don't if you're watching this channel. Because I know you suffer from restraint issues. But if you are interested, check that out. That finishes Thursday, July 13th at 3 p.m. Moving along to what could it be? Another immersive fantasy campaign game for 2 to 6 players, designed and illustrated by acclaimed Magic the Gathering and D&D artist Christopher Moeller. Well, you get a pass because your name is Christopher. So, do I still have time? Yeah, I can look at this one. I'm intrigued. So this is by Compass Games, and Compass Games, I've covered, a few of their titles on Crowdfunding Countdown, and I stopped because they're mainly focused around war games, right? If you look at their created, is the Oceans of Fire, Western Front Ace, 2040, and American Insurgency. Actually, I just talked about that one briefly. But they pump out these titles. They pump out these war games, which deal with, like, all these little chits. And I've stayed away from them because after I looked through the first couple, I'm like, yeah, you know what? This isn't for me. And I'm just going to be saying the same stuff every time. And I don't want to waste my time and yours. But this is interesting because it seems like they're bringing that idea into a less war game setting, right? They're bringing kind of that DNA and that support with all of these chits and all these units, but they're putting it into this fantasy setting in a little campaign setting, which might be interesting. It has a whopping 29 scenarios, which range from short campaigns to the entire 12-year war in which 6 kingdoms battle over 4 hand-drawn mounted map boards. And so I think that's important, is that it's not going to be your standard campaign game. It's going to be more of a war game, right? Just a fantasy war game is what it kind of is. But the fantasy might help get you into that wargaming genre. And again, I don't think it's standard wargaming because you're going to have cards that will let you level up your heroes and give you magic and etc. Like, I don't think this is a war game, let me be clear. But I think because it comes from Compass Games, who have such a history with it, there's going to no doubt be something infused in its DNA, right? And so you're going to take the role of one of these kingdoms and then face across 4 of these hand-drawn mounted maps, which legitimately look really cool. And it looks like this one could maybe they can't exist. I feel like if you flip that and put that over here, you might be able to do some rearrangement. How much is this going to be? A lot, probably. 89 US, 119. Honestly, that's about how much Compass Games stuff usually costs, which is also why I'm never interested. So here's how to play. There are 6 kingdoms in Burning Banners. Campaigns in Burning Banners are always divided into 2 sides, Invader and Resistance. Okay, 1 or more kingdoms will form the Invader, the other the Resistance. If more than 2 players are playing, each side will play as a team. Great. Not interested in playing this at more than 2 players. There's an in-depth how to play right here, which is 43 minutes, which you can watch through. Read the rulebook here right at the top. That's awesome. Give me that. Okay, it's not right at the top. It's, you know what, I scrolled through a lot. But it's a small campaign page, and usually I have to scroll through more. It's really, you know, at the top. It's a third of the way down, but it feels closer to the top. 60 pages. All right. I'm just going to get a sense. Again, I'm not going to read through this whole thing. I got to go in 30 minutes. But it is good that they have a basic game and an advanced game. I think for this is something where I do want a basic game. I'm always like, hey, don't give me the basic game. Don't play the family game. I want the advanced variant. But that's if you're just dealing with, you know, not a large campaign, I think. Again, this isn't your standard campaign game, though. I don't think calling this a campaign game is probably necessarily going to be the campaign game that you're looking for. That was good. I was reading through the rulebook, and then I just wanted to check out their previews. Obviously, I'm not usually a fan of Mark Street and the Dice Tower previews, to be honest. I find that it often leans towards selling the game instead of actually explaining the game, as, you know, well, you're paying money for it, so you hope that somebody sells it. But this I found incredibly informative, really gave me a great sense of the game. Highly recommend watching this if Burning Banners is interesting, and honestly, it's annoying because now I have to read through the rulebook in a little bit more detail because the things that you said was exciting. I do love this potential ease of looking. That's what he was highlighting in the video. The ease of just looking at it at a glance. And the combats here, I really do like this combat rating. Just initially, it shows you how many dice you roll. White dice or black dice, either D6 or D8. And checking it against each other. I also take it back. Just with that, I'm like, you know what? The advanced game is going to be better because you're going to have heroes and you're going to have magic, and that's going to make it significantly better. So I want to look through this a little bit more. I'll probably have to come back to it. I've been piecemealing this in every spare hour of the day that I've gotten, and we're almost through so that I can get it out to you for Monday, because Mondays are my day off. And so generally it would be better if Sunday was my day off and I could spend the whole day doing this, but I can't. So we find the time when we can. But yeah, looks really neat. It currently has me really intrigued, and I'm going to read as much of this as I can. Probably see you with maybe another shirt later. We're back. I forget what we talked about. It looks good. That's basically it. I find this rulebook to be a bit cumbersome, honestly. It's written like a war game rulebook, and it's been hard to get through, and I think I'm going to stop. Because I get the general gist of what's going to be interesting, and it feels war game-ish, right? It really does. I think the advanced game is going to be a bit more interesting because of the magic. I like that you have multiples of the same units, and that you're going to need to respawn them, basically. Kind of Small World-esque. If Small World were a more complicated game, that's what this feels like. Yeah, it's a bit of a rough rulebook to get through. I would just watch the videos instead. That's cool. The designer drawing the map, that's pretty neat. But you can see the stuff that Christopher Muller has designed and illustrated. It's in that same vein, you know? So let's see. Shipping to the US is 14, so it's still going to be 100 and something. Canada's 30, right? This is going to be very expensive to get to Canada. Like 180 bucks Canadian for me. I think I would get more joy out of playing this than Small World. I think I would. I don't know how much joy I would get, you know? I really like how the units are structured. I like that you're going to be fighting over a large battlefield. I like that there are multiple campaigns. I like that there are asymmetrical factions. And it seems like it would be pretty intuitive once you get through it. It is a tough rulebook, though, and I think you should watch more videos. Anyway, if that interests you, that finishes Thursday, July 13th at 9 p.m. Let's move along just quickly to Thorgal, the role-playing game. So Thorgal was a regular game, and now it's coming back as a role-playing game. Duck Rabbit, right? Oh, maybe not. I know Thorgal was something else. You gonna make me do this? Yeah, Thorgal the board game was with the book, right? Yeah, I remember Thorgal looking neatish, and now that's the reason why I took a note of the role-playing game, but it's a different company. And there's a free PDF starter, so if you want to check it out and see if it's interesting for you, there you go. 5 ready-to-play characters based on D20 mechanics. Check that out if you like RPGs. I don't cover RPGs that much because I barely have time to play board games as is. I certainly can't play the RPGs. Let's move on to Crystallo Expansions, Untold Fortunes, and Den of Dragons, maybe? 2 shiny new expansions and add-on for the award-winning puzzle solo game, Crystallo. Yeah, that's why I wanted to cover it. I haven't heard of this, so now it's time to hear of it. Great, that tells me nothing. Thanks. Oh, that's cool. You can get it at Barnes & Noble. I am new to Crystallo. Tell me all I need to know. It's a solo puzzle game, but it turns out tons of people love to play it cooperatively. Crystals, magic, and a rainbow of mythical creatures to rescue from wicked dragon treasures. Big shiny gems. Sets up in no time. Plays in 30 minutes or less. Easy to teach and learn, but takes practice to master. You can add a copy of the base game onto any pledge or go all in, blah, blah, blah. No, that's not all I need to know about Crystallo. In fact, I need to know a lot more about Crystallo. I need to know, in fact, how to play Crystallo. If only there was a handy-dandy how-to-play video right here. No, give me some rules or just a basic breakdown. Thanks. Well, it must have gotten a seal of approval at least. That makes sense. See, that's what you want. Just give us literally a picture of this card. You have this graphic done. Just tell me that information so I don't have to watch a video to find it out. I think I'm a little testy, so I'm sorry, Crystallo fans. It's been a long day, and I've got more to do. But this is useless to me. It's just useless, and I don't like that because I think this looks good. You're basically making sets and patterns around a little orb, and you want to unlock the orb, and then you're going to take that off of the specific monster and keep going. 35 for the new ones. Oh no, 18 for both new expansions. That's nice. Probably it's just additional cards, right? The push your luck tension that was present in the original game. Should I seek the treasures or focus on freeing the creatures? Well, I guess that's what you get when you stop halfway through. You only know about freeing the creatures and not getting the treasures. Don't care. Should have given me your rulebook. Sorry. I'm sorry. I know I can hear myself. I appreciate you all being here with me, and I like hanging out with you. It makes my day better. And a market where you can trade gems and treasures for bonuses. See, that seems exciting. Oh, this is cool. You get more dragons because there was only one dragon before, and now there's a new dragon. The armored dragon and the golden dragon. Where's the base rulebook for the main game? What about that? I don't know. The Fortunate Dragon, that's the one with just the expansions, is $5, which is pretty good. Would have loved a rulebook for anything rather than just a sketch outline. But that's not surprising, given that they said the only thing we need to know is big shiny gems and dragons. Well, I have a little bit more need for more information before spending money. I legitimately think this looks good, though. This is what makes me so mad about it, is that this campaign page is not helping you. It's not helping me help you. It's, in fact, making me angry. See, because it looks fun. Like, there's a second phase of a dragon phase where you take cards you've saved aside, and any treasures you get those cards to be able to spend to make your puzzle a little bit easier. It looks cool. It said that the base game was also available in the add-ons, and you can get it for $20. $20. That's what I would be interested in this scenario, right? $20 with, assuming, $5 shipping, you get it for $25. That's pretty decent. If your campaign wasn't so abysmal, you might be looking at pick of the week territory here, Crystallo, but it's horrible, so sorry. No, I think this looks cool. I think this looks like a really neat solo puzzle if you like games like Grove. If Grove is your jam, if that's one of your favorite games, you like these card games where you lay cards over top of each other and create this tile laying, pattern matching creation, yeah, check this out. That finishes Friday, July 14th at 6 p.m. Moving along to Scarface 1920 Bloody Bitness, I should say. Scarface 1920 returns with the release of a new expansion, Bloody Bitness, 2 new gangs, and the reprint of the original game. I mean, it's the reprint of the original game that is the thing that I'm the most interested in, and yet it's a game that I didn't back in the day. It is one when I stole 10 games. I mean, I didn't actually steal them because I'm a nice, sweet boy. But it's one that I stole from Alex's collection, Alex Radcliffe, when I was visiting him, and I did that video because I thought Scarface looked good. And you know what? I bet it's still good. I doubt these expansions really add too much. It seems like they just add additional slight variability, but not of any significance. The real reason why this is back is because it did well, people are enjoying it, and they're back again to say, hey, we proved it, we made it, so buy it now if you're on the fence. So let's just talk a little bit about Scarface and what it is after I refresh myself as well. Yeah, 3 new expansions. It seems like the Bloody Bitness actually adds a ton to it. Which is weird because one of the things that I heard about it is that it was a bit much. It kind of went on a bit long. was one of the criticisms that I heard from some people. But it blends worker placement, area control, and deck building. All fun stuff. I guess this was like 2 years ago when they did this last campaign. They say this expansion will never make it to retail. Well, neither will the base game because it's very big on people's shelves. I don't know if it has. But yeah, this whole expansion board is something that I don't know if I would want. It's just additional stuff to keep track of, right? I do love the art style of this game, though. That's what really draws me in. I love the art. I love the world. It's a fun world to play pretend in. And here's a list of all the new mechanics. This is a good one. Hospital and doctors. There's no time to waste. Recover your injured men quickly and make your doctor earn his pay. So you have a doctor on staff. You can have extortions as a new action to get more money. You have a business track. This is the thing that I'm not that interested in. But even when living outside the margins of order and justice, there's a law you cannot ignore. Offer and demand. Make sure your businesses keep generating money to finance your gang. Most wanted tokens. Hiring the most wanted criminals in the city is now more interesting than ever. Not only will you add their skills to your gang, but you might also get some juicy rewards. So you have like a reason to go for specific types of people. Here's a nice little bit of FOMO for you. Don't worry, they'll be in the next campaign, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. I mean, I like modular and asymmetrical characters, and I like that the 2 new expansions were just 2 new gangs. You could choose which ones you wanted. See? Oh, I love you, Scarface. Including the tab that says rulebook is the way to my heart. But you know it's not the way to my heart. Not giving me a rulebook. There we go. All right. Thank goodness, you're close. I thought I wasn't going to get it to the base game. I do want to look at both, though. Only 10 pages. That's good. Just very simple on explaining the additional stuff. I just think the upkeep on those feels like it's going to be a lot, but, you know, I'll read it. €115 for this one. I forget what it was back in the day, but it was a bit cheaper. Makes sense. You also get the Enforcers, which was the Kickstarter exclusives, and everything from the base game. So if you missed it and you really have been regretting it all this time, well, you know, if you've been regretting it all this time, that feels like you're excited enough to justify it. I don't want you to not have nice things. I just, you know, want you to enjoy the things that you get. I do like this about the gangs. I got distracted by somebody trying to solve the mystery of the abacus over at Discord. You're either not close at all or very close. One of them. Yeah, but I really like that your stats do get to increase. I love any games where you get to increase your stats and unlock, and those choices are varied. And the fact that you can upgrade your stats, your hand size, your recruiters, your dealer supplies, your nightclubs, your vehicles, your lawyers, it's pretty fun. There's going to be different locations on the board that you can claim and gain control over, and then use that as like your headquarters to make it harder for other people to gain control over your stuff. Yeah, but basically where the deck building part comes in is you're going to be playing a card to take your turn, right? And each card will give you different things. And so you start out with a basic deck, and you're going to want to get different people into your hands so that you can do different things on the board. And you play these until you don't have any cards left in your hand or your deck. And if you don't have any cards in your hand or deck, that's when reorganization happened, and that's what progresses the time track forward, I believe, if I remember from 2 years ago. Anyway, you're going to use those actions to take control of the districts so that you can gain money for all of your businesses. I was right, advance the time marker when you're out of your deck, so that one person can speed through it, right? If you're pushing the tempo of the gang, you're potentially pushing the tempo of the game as well. Which I do like. I like that in games. I like that ability. Anyway, the total money wins. So all you need to do is get money. And you use your people to take over places, control it from other people so that you can get money during your reorganization turns. I do like this in the Bloody Business. You're going to be voting on different mayors, which will give bonuses for the end of the game. I like that, so that you can manipulate the end game bonuses. That seems cool in Bloody Business. That doesn't seem too hard to implement. So it seems like there's a bunch of different modules, honestly, but you're going to use them all at the same time. So not really modules, but modular additions, right? It's not like a whole built system. They seem pretty insular in terms of how they're used, but they just want to be all used together. This just makes the money that you get from your businesses to be variable, so you can push getting more of a certain business type. I guess that's fun. Maybe I was too hasty talking about it being too hard to implement. That feels like it'd be easy to kind of move up and down. every time something goes on, you just remove it. Yeah, that's pretty easy to implement. This is also cool. All right, I'm getting on board. You're getting me on board with this expansion. It doesn't feel as cumbersome as I expected it to. That was probably just due to my unfamiliarity with the game, and now that I've refreshed, I feel a little bit better. I like this. Whenever you take a associate in one of those things, then all the other associates become better and will get additional bonuses because they've been more evil. They saw people are being hired from those other factions and they think, no, we're going to really up the evil and put $3 more in our pockets. Huh? That'll really show you how dastardly we are. Or you can get votes for the election. This is why these things are tied together, not and aren't modules. Pretty simple. And then you can be collecting bullets as well, and these bullets can be used as extortion points, and they let you do different things. It's pretty simple. Honestly, it's pretty simple. I take it back. Pretty simple to implement. Oh, you're getting all these different extras, like the barrels and stuff. That's why. It makes sense that it's just one. The reprint is the higher, more fancy one. It's still 115 euro, though. 171 Canadian. If you add in Bloody Business, remember Bloody Business just being not the new gangs, that's 149. I don't see anyone who's getting that without the new gangs, honestly. 112 times you see, yeah. And Gangland Pledge, where it would be 189, which is $281 Canadian, plus shipping to the US. Let's look at the Gangland Pledge, 36 euros, 43. It's going to be a big box. It is a big friggin' box. It's like Dwellings of Eldervale style, or Burn Cycle is another reference. It's a big friggin' box. And for that much money, it's just like, I understand games are cool, and I understand plastic is fun, and even still just getting the base game at 170, that's not something that I want to do. 189 euros. It's a tough friggin' ask, isn't it? It's tough. I mean, I think it looks fun. I do. I still think it looks fun. I thought it looked fun last time, and I think it looks fun again, but it's a tough ask. Anyway, that finishes on the 15th of July at 1 a.m. if you are interested. The 15th of July, which is the Saturday, and finally, our last one of the week, we made it through 4 shirt changes, 4 different filming sessions. I think I spent more time because of the different... It doesn't matter. We got Naughty or Nice, the relaunch, a light Euro card game for 2 to 5 players, celebrating gift giving. Let me know how it is. I'm still always on the lookout for a really good Christmas game. You know, Halloween gets its games. Christmas, you don't really have anything, or at least nothing really good. Is this going to break the trend with these 81 backers? I don't know. Let's check it out. I like this concept. They're saying that you can play it with anybody. There are 5 different levels of play. So again, we're going to try for level 5 because we're impressed with ourselves. That's true. You can get a print and play for £8, 14 Canadian, or the Little Helper for 21 or $36 Canadian. That's what we're working with. Some people aren't doing that. I mean, the average that somebody spent on this campaign is also somewhere like £50, which is like $80 or $90. And if that's your average, that feels sketchy. But hey, maybe someone's just giving a Christmas present early, huh? So here are the modulars. You have the only essentials, and they have preferred gifts, and they add in some creatures, and they add in written abilities, and then you add in the full game, which is light Euro with set collection. Great. Teach me. No, teach me. Teach me. Down to the rules. Thank you. 2/3 down the page. You have 8 gift givers and Rudolph. That's nice. Way to go, Rudolph. You made it. Why are you giving this example that doesn't match with your picture? Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, very simple. I like it. You're going to be taking... This is a good rule book generally. You can do multiple things on your turn. You can take cards. These are presents. You take them, you put them in your hand. Done. You can take creatures. You take them, you put 1 in your hand. Done. You can play a creature from your hand. This is different, so you have to wait a little turn. And then you can fulfill a wish. This is the main thing that you want to do because it's Christmas and you want to give gifts. So each kid wants a specific type of gifts. They're not choosy. They just like the color of the gifts. They don't care what the contents are. You could give Lisa 2 red boxes, 1 blue box, and a green box, and she'd be happy as a friggin' clam. So you can give presents to kids. If you do, you score points for the number of presents you do give them, but also you are a special character as a special gift And so you can see on the side, Odin has a special gift over here. Whenever Odin gives a sweater, you get an extra point. So those are the little things they can do. And this is what I like as well. This is where the set collection comes in. This is how you get more creatures and have action efficiency. Because if you match a kid with a shape that you already have, kids have different attributes, obviously. Extraversion, agreeableness, openness, conscientiousness, and neuroticism. We love the neurotic kids. But if you get 2, you get a creature, and if you get all 5, you get 2 creatures, which is, better than 1. You're going to be going through 2 different decks. Both decks have the opportunity to end the game. Then you score your points. Sweet game. Absolutely sweet little game. £21, 36 Canadian, and then what's shipping? It's going to be expensive, I know. UK, £8, but you can get group copies, so that's nice. The deluxe version gives you a playmat that doesn't matter, but everybody loves playmats, so smart marketing move. Hungary, only $2. £2. Get it at your local pickup. If you live in Hungary, go get this game, 100%. US, £16, yeah, and Canada, £22. So it's like $72 for me to get this card game, which is just astronomically offensive to me. Not because of you, Naughty or Nice, but just because of, the postal system. I mean, also a little because of you. 36 is not what I want to spend on this. I'd spend 20. But it looks cute. Absolutely looks cute. Really like the concept. I think it's one of the sweetest Christmas games that I potentially have seen. Of course, the bar was fairly low, but still, it's quite nice. I like the set collection. Yeah, thrilling. Great way to end. That finishes Tuesday, July 18th at 4 p.m. And that's it. That's it for the week. Thank you so much for being here. We made it. We put it out on a friggin' Monday. We did it. I feel very accomplished right now because it really felt like this week I wouldn't get this done. Well, and I still haven't gotten it done. I still have to edit it, but I'm close. So every week I do a pick for me and a pick for you. The pick for me being the thing that I'm the most interested in, and the pick for you being the thing that I think, if you're getting it, yeah, you could feel good about, let's say. That's a potential. I know what the pick for me is guaranteed, and I think I know what the pick for you is. I hate it. I hate that I know what it is. Not even nice is close, I'll tell you. Not even nice is a fairly close one, but that's not the pick for me. The pick for me is for sure this one. Pacific Ocean card game. The beautifully named, rolls trippingly off the tongue. I thought this one looks quite good. Comes in a little tin. I like the multi-use cards. I think it's very simple as far as 18 card games go. A sweet 2-player back and forth. You can play it pretty quickly, and I feel like, especially with the card that's face down, that's what's exciting. That's what keeps it from getting stale. That's what allows you to play it over and over again with just 18 cards. Awesome looking little game. Definitely is my pick for me. And then my pick for you, I hate to say it, I think it's Scarface. I think it still is Scarface. I mean, I think it's just the base game. I think the expansions will add to the game, but I don't know if they will double the value of the game, if that makes sense, right? Because they're almost paying double for both. I don't know if it adds double. I hate to make this my pick for you because it is so expensive, but if you are thrilled about it, if you're super excited, if you missed it last time, if you've been dreaming about it forever, I still think it looks good. That's why I stole it from Alex, or would have stolen it from Alex. And yeah, that's the pick for you. As always, back responsibly. Thank you so much for watching, though. Let me know what you are backing this week, what you have your eyes on upcoming. I have my eyes on a few things, and I'm waiting to get some information about them. But yeah, this was a fun week. Some good ones. Decent fare as we move along. You know what? I really appreciate you being here. I do. You're all great. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Give yourselves a thumbs up. Really, these thumbs up that are down there are all for you. Yeah, I believe it. I'm giving them all away. I'm giving them all to you this time. I'm not keeping them for myself. I'm giving them away. Thank you for being here. Drop something in the comments. I like hearing from you. Anyway, my name's Chris George. Oh, dang it. I do not have a catchphrase. One of these days it'll happen.